While the population divides themselves amongst politics, race, and sexuality, the true divide that never seems to stop growing is really between the rich and the poor, with the middle class being wiped out and the lower class hanging on by a thread. In this video, we're going to spend some time discussing the different ways we're being divided, and if you personally can relate to anything discussed in today's video, or you just simply been enjoying my daily doomer commentaries over here on the page, then don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, opinions down below, and subscribe to see my daily uploads right here on the channel. And a huge shout out to the handful of you guys checking out those links down below in the description. Those are genuinely always some of the best ways to support me and the content around here. Now, let's begin this shit show.
If your parents are poor and bad with money, you will be poor and be bad with money. To me, it's sad, but also fascinating that I can make that statement and statistically be right. About the traits that are genetic or hereditary, they usually stop at physical ones. Everyone knows that your parents' height will probably determine your height. But there are a handful of traits that have nothing to do with your DNA, your genes, and yet get passed down very effectively. The most common examples being religion, politics, and financial literacy. We in America do not teach our constituents on how to be fiscally responsible adults. Full stop, we do not do it. And unlike some of the other traits that I mentioned, like politics, which is a pretty hot button issue on social media, financial literacy just isn't. So what does that mean? If your parents don't know or don't care what a Roth IRA is, what a 401k is, what good debt versus bad debt is, how credit card interest works, if they routinely take out payday advances or use things like Klarna and Afterpay, if they're driving a car they cannot afford or spend too much stuff on things they do not need, it is very likely that you will also do those things. But it doesn't have to be that way. If you're watching this video, you have all the tools to educate yourself.
Now, as much as I've pretty much grown this entirety of this channel based off the generational divide, I don't think a lot of you guys would probably expect to hear this take from me, but it's pretty much nonsense because you're going to become those old people one day, and those old people were once young folks themselves. And it just so happens that studies do show that young people tend to skew more liberal, while the older you get, you seem to grow into being more conservative. It's just kind of the way that the studies show, the way you are, and when you mature, generations change, and every generation has been somewhat different. So the fact that you think everybody's going to be the same when time seems to change is just ridiculous and honestly a low IQ idea. But I do understand that, you can kind of look at the system and how the economic state of the world is and how, people who own certain things seem to be the older people and the younger people have a harder time buying stuff. The buying power is not really there, but the workload is just heavily increasing. So there are some necessarily fingers to point here, but the fingers we're pointing are the people that are going to be off the planet soon. And then what, are we going to blame the people that are just coming up that had nothing to do with it? Because that was us, and they're going to blame us because we're going to be those people eventually. So it's just this never-ending cycle of confusion, hatred, and just kind of angst. So do you guys personally find yourself hating your parents, or can you kind of relate to your parents? I feel like the older you get, the more you're supposed to relate to your parents, and you can kind of understand what they went through, the hard reality that it was to get you to where you are today, or just, also realize that everybody's only living once, so this is their first time being alive too, which I know is kind of like a weird empathetic statement, but genuinely is the truth.
Do you think the U.S. is more divided by race or class?
Honestly, I think race. It's a lot of things that black people can't get away with that sometimes white Americans can.
They're turning into similar problems because I think the caste system, which is behind black people being at the bottom, is turning into classism. That's a new justification because as culture shifts towards becoming more woke, obviously you can't subjugate people because of the color of their skin.
I was going to say both as well. Maybe say a black person has more money than a Caucasian person or, something like that. They think that's completely wrong.
Now, being that I grew up a Catholic Christian, I genuinely do believe in love thy neighbor. Does not matter the race or any of that. Does not matter necessarily how you live your life because everybody is still able to be saved. And I also believe in, everlasting life. So I do personally believe in eternal life, which means that everything you do here on earth will eventually mean something, when we die. So there is some sort of a judgment when it comes to a judgment day. I'm not trying to get all religious and preachy on you. I know I'm learning myself the older I get, and I'm learning alongside everybody else. But it's a kind of crazy thought process when you really kind of put into perspective. Here in reality, we live here on hell. We live here in hell on earth because the devil rules the earth. So historical reasons and how human nature is, there are genuinely reasons why race would be divided, why generations would be divided, why you would even be divided amongst what you believe. People have been dying over what they believe for centuries now. It's nothing new. It's definitely not a new concept, new idea. It's always been that way. So we like to believe that we're out of that nature and that we've surpassed that. We're in modern times, 21st century, but it's only a slight fabrication that we like to believe, and it's so easy to slip back into, medieval times where we're just killing each other for bread and water and stupid shit like what you say or believe or think. Which, one of the best parts about modern day is I do believe that the majority of individuals do also think this way, where you don't just hate people for who they. Sorry, you don't just hate people just off the bat for what they look like or whatever. You hate them because they show you who they are, and they're like bad people.
There's this one coworker that has been consistently misgendering me. And for a while I was like, it's just a coworker, it's just work, I'm just not gonna let it bother me. But lo and behold, I get home and it actually affects my mood. It does affect me. It hurts. Because it feels like she's doing it on purpose. And then I wonder, what did I do wrong? What did I do to make her not like me? Why can't she just respect this about me? I think any person deserves basic respect, especially when they're at work. When I'm on the clock, just show me a little bit of decency. You don't have to agree with anything, but respect me as your coworker at the very least, And so today I finally said something to her. I pulled her aside and I was like, "Hey, I don't mean to single you out, and I know you probably don't mean anything by it, but my pronouns are they, them. They're not she, they. They've never been she. It's been they, them for a while. And no one else seems to really struggle with it, but I know you're not in this area too much. But you're going to be coming back to this area. I'm going to be working with her a lot again soon. She was on leave because of an injury, and now she's coming back. So I'm like, just want to make sure you got this." And she did this, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I know I said she, her earlier. I'm so sorry. And then I was like, that's fine. I got you. No worries. Just want to let you know. Keep you in the loop. And then not even 5 minutes later, to my face, a whole slew of she's and hers. And my manager, we're buddy. We just look at each other. When two people just are on the same page in a room and you just give each other a look and you're both thinking the same thing. We just looked at each other. I didn't even tell her that I pulled her aside and told her, "Hey, my pronouns are they, them, please get them right."
Now, some of this, this might make some of you guys feel a certain way, but nobody really cares who you sleep with. Your body count means nothing to the average person. Unless you plan to shack up with them, go home and meet their parents, their innocent elderly mother. If she's not going to be stalking your Instagram to see your thought pics that you took at the beach when you went to that Miami vacation with the girls, then it's not going to matter, because nobody really cares. So people are so obsessed with, you got to call me my pronouns. When I was working at Target, over half of the staff and the employees I was working with, they had those they, them, and it's like, can I just call you by your name? We just make this less confusing here. I know it's like you're trying to stump me up here. There was this one example, here's a great example. I came back from my break, and this girl, Kai, who wants to be called they, them, which I respected, went to the bathroom. And the other girl, Carissa, I said, "Hey, where did Kai go?" Because I would just call her Kai, because I don't want to be disrespectful, and I would slip up, because I'm sorry, I'm trying to be respectful. So I do the ma'am, miss, sir. I grew up with that. So anyway, I asked, where did Kai go? And Carissa said they went to the bathroom. I said, well, who did she go with? I mean, they is plural, so she must have went with somebody, but there's nobody else around, so where did she... And she looked at me like, "You're doing this on purpose, Josh." I genuinely was just confused. So, freedom of speech is one thing, and you do have the freedom of expression, but you can't force other people to just believe your beliefs, as also when it comes down to the fact that we're just not living in reality at a certain point. So, what do you guys personally believe? Feel free to let me know down below in the comments. Maybe you think I'm a bigot. Maybe you guys think that I'm just too full of myself. Maybe you guys think this is just, I'm just a white cis male who, which is how I'm supposed to think. But I just like to live in reality. Also, I've already touched on my beliefs, and I'm Christian, so I kind of believe in a man and wife household, but I don't hate on anybody or look less on anybody who feels differently or is into same-sex marriage. If you are gay, good for you. Be yourself. That's the best part about this modern-day world, is you're able to do so. And like I just stated in the first beginning of this commentary part, nobody cares. So I don't care you're gay. Just please don't do it in front of me, because I don't want my friend to have sex with his girlfriend when I'm sitting right next to him. The same way I don't really care about your sexuality. Just keep that away from me. So the same way I wouldn't, fuck a girl in front of you. So weird situation. What do you think? Last one, wrap up this discussion surrounding the different ways that they try to divide us, the way we are divided, and the way humans just can't seem to get along. If you personally can relate to any segment discussed in this video, or you just happen to join my daily Doomer commentaries over here on the page, then you already know what to do. Don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, opinions down below, and subscribe to see my daily videos right here on the channel. And a huge shout out, I want to give a lot of acknowledgement to the handful of you guys checking out those links down below in the description. It doesn't happen often, but the few guys that do show your support going above and beyond that way, genuinely some of the best ways to support me and the content around here, and I genuinely do appreciate that. So I really want to shout that out. Huge shout out to you guys. You guys are the best. It's kind of it for me in this one. Hope you guys have been enjoying. So see you in the next one. Bye.